Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Sunday, January 19th, and the energies in the day adds up are induced to number 2 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. The spirit guidance for today is the cosmic egg, and the cosmic egg energy came out in the reversal position. And I think to start off on Thursday, we also started out with egg energy, and this also coming out in the reversal position will bring me back to Thursday's message and something about FOMO, but it's not just FOMO. So a few things I feel like some of us are dealing with. We're dealing with FOMO meaning the fear of missing out. I think of the person who's afraid to let go of the connection, because FOMO, it's like, what will people say? You know, what will people say with me being single at this age, or whatever the situation that's going on in one's mind. FOMO in the sense that when we identify with our titles and our status, but we're miserable and we feel lost where we are. But what will people say? And I feel like the FOMO, fear of missing out, wondering what people will say and what they will think, is keeping us from being intentional and planting our seeds, planting the seeds to bear the fruits that we actually want. And when I look at, say, today's energy, you know, I look at how the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 2 vibration. The sun is the ruler of the day. The number 2, the energies adding up and reducing to number 2 energy brings me to the moon. So the moon energy also has a strong influence, and the sun enters into Aquarius today, and the moon is in Libra. So the sun and the moon are both in air element and in places that deals with relationships and connections. And with the energies in the day adding up and reducing to a number 2 vibration, the number 2 is a unifying energy. So there's definitely something about walking away or detaching from a thing. And I feel like for some of us, we're holding on to the idea of the thing and not how a thing truly makes us feel. We're looking at how a thing completes us on a material level, you know, where social status is concerned, opposed to looking at, you know, where is it that you want to go? What is it that you're trying to experience? And does this thing support that? Like, I think about, say, in some cases, you know, when we're in certain relationships or connections that deplete our energy. And like I was saying, I think in Thursday's message, you know, our energy is saying no, our dreams and premonition is saying run. And some of us are really, really good at ignoring that. You know what signs are really, really good at ignoring that? If you have strong Taurus second house placements, strong Capricorn energy. So I guess the earth elements, I'll say the earth elements, but strongly Taurus and Capricorn. Or you have the number 4 or the number 8. So strong Taurus energy, second house stellium, 10th house stellium, Capricorn energy, Virgo stellium, 6th house energy, or the number 4, the number 8. Those energies have a harder time. Of course, there are others that do too, because I could think of, like, say, Libra and Gemini. But those energies for me deal more with the material side of things. And when it comes to the material side of things, it's all about a presentation. So with it all about a presentation, sometimes we get caught up on how a thing looks opposed to the value that it brings. So I think of the person that's trying to nurture a connection where there is no connection. There's only the presentation of, looking like a unit, looking like, a person has won or they've accomplished a thing, but it doesn't feel that way. And of course, that's not everybody's situations. There are people who are happy in their friendships, happy in their connections. But I see how it's natural for some of us to try to fake it or try to convince ourselves of it or look for other people to convince us and talk us into staying in a situation when everything is telling us to leave. That's actually a thing. There are people who will only speak to certain people when it comes to certain issues in their life because they don't want to be encouraged to walk away. They actually want to be encouraged to stay. They actually want to be encouraged to stay. And today's energy brings me to that, wanting to be encouraged to stay in a thing, even when that thing isn't working. Even when that thing isn't working, hasn't been working, stopped working a long time ago. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. So when it comes to the tarot, we have the star card in the reversal position. So it's interesting that the star energy comes out because the star energy is tied to Aquarian energy and the sun does enter into Aquarius today. So with the star card coming in the reversal position, the star card comes after the tower. And the tower deals with a major ending that appeared to be sudden and unexpected. But I feel nothing is ever sudden and unexpected. There's always signs and patterns leading up to a thing. It's just that while we were looking that way and distracted with what was over there, the buildup was happening over there. So by the time there was a huge combustion or blast or whatnot, we look around and it's like, wait, it came from out of nowhere, but they were signs. There were signs to a thing. So today's energy brings me to some of us dealing with some kind of an ending to a thing. Like I mentioned, between say Friday's energy and today, we're dealing with some kind of an ending to a thing, wrapping something up. With the star card coming out in the reversal position, it brings me to not wanting to accept that ending. With the star card in the reversal position and the cosmic egg, it brings me to a person who could convince themselves to operate in a toxic environment, in a toxic situation because of familiarity. And when I think of familiarity, I think of how, say, Capricorn energy and Aquarian energy both being ruled by Saturn. And Saturn energy deals with time. So a lot of the times with those energies, we could find ourselves, like how Capricorn energy deals with family. And with Capricorn energy dealing with family and authority, where family's concerned, legacy, goals, and whatnot, because of seniority, how long we've known a person, how long we've been doing a thing, we could find ourselves having a hard time separating ourselves from it because of how long we've known it. Like I think of Aquarian energy and how when it comes to Aquarian energy, we'll know Aquarian energy as being ghosting, the sign that'll ghost you and being flighty and inconsistent. But I don't always see Aquarian energy in that way, in the sense that with Aquarian energy having the Saturn influence to it and Saturn holding it to the past as Uranus is pulling it to the future. So I feel like if an Aquarian isn't balanced within themselves, they'll find themselves stagnant in one place as Saturn is pulling them to the past and Uranus is pulling them to the future. So it's like wobbling back and forth. With Aquarian energy, believe it or not, and those who have strong Aquarian energy, let me know your thoughts on it. When I think about Aquarian energy is one of those energies because it deals with familiarity. Once Aquarius has spent enough time with a person to where they feel safe to be vulnerable enough to take off their mask and show themselves completely, because Aquarius and Leo energy both exist on the same plane and they're extremes of the same energy. Both of them deals with recognition and attention, but they go about it in different ways. Where Aquarian go about it by being service oriented and a Leo goes about it by expressing themselves. And the story that I tell myself about that is that the sun rules Leo. And because the sun rules Leo, the sun is the father that fathers both of those children. But Aquarian energy deals with the abandonment of the sun because it's always in the sign of Leo, because that's where it rules, and it leaves Aquarian energy in darkness. So it's like Aquarian has that orphanage energy about it. And I feel like, most Aquarian can relate to being overlooked. And that's why they resonate with the underdog and wanting to serve those who have been left behind. But with Aquarian energy wants the attention and recognition, but doesn't feel comfortable getting it, like how Leo is like, just look at me just because. Aquarius will get it through the service that they provide, the service that they, give to humanity. With Aquarian energy wants that attention and recognition, but feels very vulnerable and uncomfortable when it gets it because it's used to not having it. So it brings me to an Aquarius who is in a connection long enough to be vulnerable enough to allow for their partner or friend to fully see them completely. It is very hard for Aquarius to walk away from that connection, even if it is abusive and destructive, because it's not often that Aquarius allows for itself to be seen, because it's an energy that wants to be seen, but feels uncomfortable once you start looking at it, feels very vulnerable once you start giving it your attention. So, when it comes to, say, today's energy and the sun entering into Aquarius and the star card coming out, it just brings me to the thought of maybe due to seniority for some of us, we don't want to make up our mind to walk away from a thing and move on because we're stuck on the whole seniority aspect of it. How long I've known this person, how long I've been in this job, how much time I've put into this relationship, how much time, like for me, it doesn't matter how much time I've put into anything. Like when the time is up, it's up and I'm ready to move on. Even though for a while after leaving the salon and focusing on the things that I've been focusing on, for a while I felt confused as to there's no way I could just let the 15 years that I've been licensed, 15, 16 years that I've been licensed just go to waste. I should be capitalizing on it in some way. That's what my mind will tell me. But I did get a lot from it. I got a lot of lessons from it. Without that experience, I would have never been who I am and where I am. It was a part of my building process. So it comes down to how we see things, When it comes to the relationship and the connection, I think of the person that says, I've put too much into this to walk away from it. And, if you're willing to sign up to misery just to say you have it because you've put time into it, then, more power to you, to each its own. So when it comes to today's energy, and the star card in the reversal position, it brings me to accountability and owning some aspect of a thing, because, without that accountability, we'll find ourselves stuck and stagnant. Wherever we find ourselves stuck and stagnant within our lives is because of a lack of accountability there. There's something that we need to own or understand in order to discontinue the way we're showing up to a thing or show up to it in a different way. But first we have to see a thing completely in order to make those changes. So yeah, when it comes to today's energy, adding up and reducing to number 2 vibration, the number 2 could be a codependent energy. Codependent, where we are afraid of being alone to the point that we entertain bad company. And when I think of Aquarian energy dealing with friend groups, I think of like a person being associated with a bunch of different groups that validate different parts of their personalities. Associating with different groups that validate different parts of our personalities. And I feel like that could be a good thing, where it's like, you know, you want to talk about astrology, you talk about it with them over there. You want to talk about this or that, you talk about it with them over there. But to me, sometimes with that operating on the lower frequency, I think of us entertaining groups of people who think exactly the way we think. Because when I think of Aquarian energy, I think of the fixed mind. So if we're entertaining people who think exactly the way how we think, how will we grow from that fixed mindset? If we're entertaining those who think only the way we think. Because keep in mind, yes, Aquarian energy is also ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is innovative energy. But just because Uranus is a part of the mix doesn't mean that we allow ourselves to fully embrace that innovative energy. That innovative energy might show up in little ways, but we might not fully embrace that innovative energy because the opposition between Saturn and Uranian energy, opposed to us being balanced within ourselves and bringing those energies together. Because being balanced within ourselves and bringing those energies together is where Saturn will create the structure that will help us to be innovative and consistently move forward and make things happen. But when we're imbalanced in ourselves, Saturn is pulling us to the comforts of the past. Uranus is pulling us to the newness of the future. And we're being pulled in opposite direction, and we're just stagnant in one place, and there's no growth. No growth. So when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to some level of accountability is required on our part in order to be intentional and change our world in whatever way we want to change our world. And when I use the word accountability, I don't see it in a negative way. I see the word accountability as a powerful word, as a word that reflects the power that we all have within us, in the sense that if we agree that this reality is mental, then everything takes place in the mind, in our own individual minds. And it comes down to the stories that we tell. So when it comes to issues within our world and things that don't work out, we need to revisit the story. And from revisiting the story, we look at the character role that we're playing within that story, and we ask ourselves, is this character role getting me the experiences that I want, or do I want a different experience? Because if I want a different experience, and I'm going to need to tell a different story, I'm going to need to show up different in order to get a different experience. And that's what today's energy is bringing me to, the importance of, you know, when it comes to the way we're thinking, the way we're seeing ourselves, and the way we're showing up. Because, you know, like I said, the sun moved into the sign of Aquarius, and Aquarian energy is one when we're in Aquarian season. Like say when we're in Capricorn season, some of us could have found ourselves maybe even sign up for school because, you know, maybe you went on social media and someone with a powerful title really inspired you, and you might chop up their confidence to their title, thinking that their title is responsible for their confidence, when whatever it is that you were trying to pursue doesn't require you getting that kind of credential, but thinking that the credential is going to make you more confident, when that might be far from the truth. So, you know, being in Capricorn season, some of us could have signed up to go back to school because we want to aspire to the highest highs, not because that's what's in our heart, but because that's what we think, you know, will make society, will make our families, will make others respect us. Or being in Capricorn season could have caused some of us to, you know, come up with new goals and ambitions for ourselves, and, you know, ready to take action when it comes to those things, setting new goals for ourselves and ready to take action when it comes to those things. Now, when we enter into Aquarian energy, we have the Saturnian aspect of it, like the ruler of Capricorn, but then now Uranian energy just, you know, entered the mix. So like I mentioned earlier, in Aquarian energy, some of us could find ourselves just going from one extreme to the next and nothing's happening. Some of us could find ourselves lost in victim consciousness mindset as we're engaging in others who support the sadness and the different things that we've been through, and there's no growth happening. They're just validation as to why it is unfair. The higher frequency of this energy being in this season is where we apply the structure of Saturn, the discipline of Saturn, the innovative aspect of Uranus, and redesign and create a future for ourselves based off of a clear vision and a clear system that will get us to our goal, whatever our goal is. So when it comes to this energy, Aquarian energy, and us entering into Aquarian season, first we, have the cosmic egg, and the cosmic egg brings me to the thought of the seeds that we're planting. What kind of experience do you want to have? What kind of fruit do you want to bear? Once you're clear about the seeds you want to have and the fruit that you want to bear, then this is where we pay attention to our actions, how we show up, how we can improve ourselves. What is our role in a thing? Something major just ended. What was my role in that thing that has ended or is no longer working? How can I change up my role in the way I show up moving forward so that I don't get the same experience, so that the same thing doesn't happen again? Being in this Aquarian season energy is also a powerful time for being inventive. Some of us could come up with some really good ideas to solve certain challenges that we deal with on a day-to-day basis that could really transform the lives of others and ours as we're compensated for, these great ideas. Because I think about, what's happening in Pisces with Saturn there and whatnot, and Saturn creating more structure to help us to materialize our dreams and our vision. Like Aquarian energy, Saturn creating structure, and then Uranian energy taking us into the future and us being innovative to make changes. And with Uranian energy, in order for us to be innovative, we have to rebel against what is, but not rebel when we're thinking about the lower vibration of Aquarian energy, not rebel just because we want to be different. And sometimes we rebel and want to be different because that's a way of getting attention. But we rebel because we've tried, and you've tried, research, looked into, apply a thing, and you realize it just doesn't work for me. So I'm rebelling from a place of observation and, putting the work in and testing a thing. And I know this just isn't for me. So this isn't for me. I want something different. I'm going to create something different. And like I said, Aquarian energy gives us the vision with the fixed mind, the structure of Saturn, and the lightning energy of Uranus to make things happen. But in order to make things happen, we first have to be clear about the vision and also be clear about our role in our role that has created past experiences that we've had, and what needs to be changed about it in order to get to the vision that we're so clear about in our minds. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me an orange heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.